Hello, and welcome to the Golden One Credit Union Empowerment Podcast, where we come together to explore financial health and the overall well-being of our community. As a not-for-profit, member-owned credit union, we're dedicated to empowering your financial journey and helping you achieve a brighter, more secure future. We live in culturally diverse communities filled with people of all ages who have hearts and minds of gold. Welcome to the Empowerment Podcast's Community Minds of Gold channel, where we celebrate the richness of community wisdom and generosity. We'll dive into authentic experiences, financial insights, and success stories shared by our community members and local celebrities. Together, we can be golden. Hello, and welcome to Community Minds of Gold. I'm Courtney McKinney, and joining me today is Vice President for Student Affairs at Sacramento State University, Aniesha Mitchell. Aniesha has advocated for student well-being in higher education for over 20 years, including positions at San Diego State University, University of Cincinnati, University of Mississippi, and University of Michigan. Aniesha is also licensed to practice law in the state of Michigan, so it sounds like we have an interesting conversation ahead of us. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me, Courtney. It's truly an honor.
We're really excited to have you. Sac State is such an important part of this region, so thank you for being here. To start, we like to ask a couple of warm-up questions. So the first one is, do you know the difference between a bank and a credit union?
Yes, I do. I really appreciate the work that credit unions do for the community. I understand that they are not-for-profit, that the members have ownership in the credit union, and I love the impact that they have in the overall community. I love the presence that credit unions has. I love the fact that credit unions also provide individuals with access to funding that typical banks would not even consider them for. So I consider credit unions to be very comparable to Sac State and the impact that we have in the region, knowing that 1 in 17 individuals in the region are graduates of Sacramento State, and we're making an impact in the region and in the community just like credit unions do and just like Golden One does on a daily basis.
You might need to sign you up on our marketing team. That was perfect. 100%. Yes. A+. All right. So the next warm-up question and the last one is, do you have a favorite hobby or pastime that is absolutely free?
Yes, I love reading. I try to read a lot of fantasy books. I like reading about wizards and witches and dragons. My real life is so exciting enough. So anything that can distract me from what's going on, I am an avid reader. Love George R.R. Martin and A Song of Ice and Fire. I'm currently rereading that series right now. Been waiting for The Dance of Dragons to be released for like a decade.
Oh, you're
now.
serious? You're naming the names.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
That's my
Where did that
thing.
start? Like, were you a child and you picked that up?
It started when I was a child. I loved to read. I would read a lot of the Nancy Drew novels, Matilda, anything that I could get my hands on, I was reading.
That makes sense now that you work in higher education then.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So let's dive in. You are the Vice President for Student Affairs at Sacramento State University. What do you focus on in that role, and what do you find unique about Sac State compared to other places you've been?
Thank you for that question. So as the Vice President for Student Affairs, it's never a dull moment doing the work that I do. And I truly focus on the student experience outside of the classroom. I want to complement the hard work that the faculty are doing to educate our students by ensuring that I am supporting them by removing academic barriers. So I understand that there's a direct correlation between a student's persistence to graduate and their ability to feel community and feel belonging. I also understand that if a student is struggling with mental health, they're not going to retain any of the information that they're learning inside of the classroom. So as Vice President for Student Affairs, I support our students when it comes to health, when it comes to having community, when it comes to having housing, and if they are experiencing any challenges that are preventing them from successfully matriculating, we want to provide them with the tools and the resources that they need to be successful.
That's awesome. And what are some of the resources that first come to mind that have been really impactful?
I would say our basic needs resources are really impactful. Nearly half of our students at Sac State qualify for CalFresh. And I know
Can you just remind everyone what CalFresh is?
Yes. So it is a nutritional assistance program. So EBT, so if a student is having some challenges getting food for themselves or challenges eating, they're not going to retain any of the information that they're learning inside of the classroom.
Right.
So really trying to foster conditions that contribute to their success, knowing that our students are so serious and dedicated to their education. I have students who literally make the difficult decision of whether or not they're going to pay for housing or pay for tuition. And I don't want for any of our students living in their cars. Mm-hmm. So they're resilient, they are determined, and they are dedicated, and they have grit. And I'm so honored to serve them each and every day.
This is interesting. It sounds like a lot of like the broader microcosm issues that go on in the region really are captured at Sac State. So y'all are kind of serving as a place where people might, for the first time, have these kinds of supports. Is that accurate?
It is accurate, yes. And we're always looking for opportunities to expand support that we're providing our students. We have an ASI Food Pantry Associated Students Incorporated. They are our student government, and they operate a very comprehensive food pantry. But based off of the size of the food pantry, they are only able to be open for less than 20 hours a week because they are constantly replenishing the shelves. Around 600 students a week use our food pantry on campus. And when we think of the fact that nearly half of our students qualify for CalFresh, they're making an impact, but we want to make an even greater impact for our students. So we are launching a basic needs resource center that we hope will open up this semester. And this center will have expanded hours. It's not in either the ASI Food Pantry or the Basic Needs Resource Center. It's and more. So students will have access to not only food, they'll have access to clothing, they'll have access to parenting supplies, considering that we have a considerable number of students who are parents, diapers, formula, wipes, pack and plays. We want to truly ensure that their needs are met outside of the classroom. So when they are in that space, they can focus on why they are there, which is to learn and grow and develop and to graduate and continue to make the valuable contributions that they're making in the region.
Yes. So Golden One just did an employee donation to the
Yes, you were our
pantry.
first individuals you were the first organization, really the first anyone who made a donation to the Basic Needs Resource Center. Sincerely, thank you.
Yes, and I want to know, can other organizations, are y'all accepting donations?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
We welcome donations from community members, from businesses, corporations. The more we have individuals investing in our students, the more we are all contributing to their success.
Okay, hear that, everyone. A place for your donations. That's very well needed. So thank you for doing that. And that pantry sounds amazing. I'm really excited about that. So we've already talked a little bit about this, but can you say a little bit more about Sac State students and alumni? Like, what are the demographics like? Are there commonalities across the student population?
Yes, we are a very diverse community at Sacramento State, and we feel as if our diversity is one of our greatest strengths. It's a driver of innovation. We focus on providing community for our diverse communities. We are recognized federally as a Hispanic serving institution or an HSI, as well as a federal designation of an Asian American, Native American, Pacific Serving Islander Institution, or ANAPISI. And we were most recently recognized as a Black serving institution by the state of California. And in order for us to have those designations, we have to have a certain number of enrollment. We're about 37% Latina at Sac State, a considerable amount of Asian students. We have the highest enrollment of Black students at any other state, any other university or college in the state of California.
Wow.
So that speaks to the diversity of our students. And with so much diversity on our campus, our students have very unique needs that we strive to meet on a daily basis. Whether it's through our cultural academic resource centers, which are open to all students, but also focus on community-specific resources and education on helping people understand the unique contributions that individuals make to society, as well as the unique challenges that individuals face because of their identity. I think it's very comparable to Sacramento and the region.
So I was just
the
thinking.
beautiful diversity that we have in this region, and the fact that we are amplifying communities. I love that about this region, and I love that about Sac State.
Me too. I am not originally from Sacramento, but part of why I love it here is because, and I don't know if a lot of people outside of California understand how diverse Sacramento is for various reasons. You know, we have a confluence of rivers, but we have a confluence of people from all around the world and all walks of life. And I think what Sac State does in this way, by acknowledging and embracing that diversity and supporting people, it's really such a beautiful way to to integrate our community so that we can evolve together. And so I feel very appreciative that y'all had that stance toward your students and helping and uplifting the region. So what are you most proud of when it comes to your experience at Sac State?
I'm honestly most proud of the students that I serve. Out of every other institution that I've ever worked at, there's nothing like a Sac State student. I remember when I first got to Sac State, during the first week of classes, I walked into the library and was so impressed with the number of students who were there actually studying. And I compare that to other institutions that I worked with and even my experience in college. And I just was not that serious of a student. I took academics seriously, but I wanted to have a good time too. I honestly wish that our students would have a little bit more fun than what they're having. But they are just serious about being engaged as citizens. Many of our students participate in civic activities. They are activists. They are very vocal about causes that are important to them. So the students that we have at Sac State are very unique. I am confident that it's going to be a Sac State student who changes the world, just based off of what I've seen.
That gives me chills, because I feel that energy on the campus.
Yes, our students are amazing. And when I pursued my path to education and took a non-traditional legal path, my goal and my intent was to educate students and to develop students. But each day I'm learning so much from them. So it's true honor.
So I want to ask you about that pivot from law to what do you, student engagement, empowerment, student needs. What was that like, and why did you make that pivot?
Yeah. So when I initially wanted to be an attorney, I wanted to be a criminal defense attorney. Because I'm gonna be honest, a lot of my cousins needed me. And I also noticed the difference in outcomes that they received in comparison to other communities. And then I started to be exposed to criminal law. And I don't believe in good or bad people, but I noticed that criminal law was a lot of not the best people on their very, very best behavior. So I said, well, maybe I should look into family law, because if you've harmed a child or an animal or an elderly person, I believe that you are entitled to due process. It would just be challenging for me to advocate on your behalf. But I want for you to have that advocacy for sure, because you are entitled to that under our Constitution. So I said, well, let me look at family law. And I found out that family law was incredible people who were on their worst behavior. Because when you are arguing over assets and liabilities and spousal support and children, it literally just brought out the worst in people. So I was in law school in a crisis, and I was like, I don't know what I want to do. Don't want to do this, don't want to do this. This is just not for me. Should I even be in law school? And then I took an alternative dispute resolution course, and I came across a quote from Chief Justice Warren Burger. And he said that our system has become too painful, too costly, too ineffective for a truly civilized society. And we are mesmerized by the stimulation of the courtroom competition that we forget that we are healers of justice.
Wow.
And as an attorney and as other attorneys, we've been called a lot of things. But a healer of justice or conflict, which was a healer of conflict, I've never been called a healer. So I started to really look at law through a different lens. And it all boils down to conflict to me. Individuals who are violating our speeding laws are in conflict with our values as a society in order to keep pedestrians safe and to keep roadways safe. So I changed my perspective, and I said, this is about conflict resolution, this is about values, and this is what I want to do. So I started off in higher ed in student conduct, which I really, really loved. It was very transformative to see students at a very low point in their career having made a mistake recuperate from that mistake, and to have a developmental lens versus a punitive lens, helping them understand the impact that their actions were having on the community, on themselves, on their future, was really the way to modify the behavior. So the recidivism rates, when I did conduct, I used restorative justice as a practice and as a guide doing conduct. Recidivism rates were extremely low, and students would literally go through the process and thank me because I treated them with dignity and respect. And it was like, this mistake does not have to define who you are. You can be a better person. You can grow from this, and you can continue to contribute to the community the way that you want to intend to contribute.
That sounds like healing to me.
I loved it. Yeah. I loved conduct. So in higher ed, I do consider the work that I do as mitigating risk for students. So I'm grateful that I have that law background because I try to create conditions that allow them to be successful through mitigation. I know if my students are hungry, they're not going to do well in their classrooms. So if I can mitigate that condition of hunger or mitigate that condition of housing insecurity, then I can contribute to their success and help them excel.
So this goes into kind of the next part of this interview, which, we're a credit union. We have to talk about money. And on this podcast, we really like to delve into this topic because sometimes it can be a taboo subject. People don't necessarily grow up talking about money. So we appreciate your willingness to participate in this culture shift with us. So in that spirit, do you feel comfortable talking about money on a personal level? And does that translate into a willingness to talk about finances with students who might need that guidance?
Absolutely. And I do have these conversations with our students. I want for our students to know how to use money wisely. I want for them to understand the impact that their credit score can have on their future and their ability to be a homeowner or to purchase a car or even to get a lease with an apartment. And oftentimes those conversations are not had in the home when they are younger. So getting them comfortable with engaging in those conversations without any judgment, if they have chosen to maybe not be the best steward of their resources, just helping them learn from that mistake. I grew up in a household where the message around money was different based on the messenger. So I was very much so a daddy's girl. So I know if I needed anything or if I wanted something, I was going to go directly to dad. And it was just going to be like, whatever you want. But mom was going to give me a lecture. Mom was going to tell me this is the value of $1 and money doesn't grow off of trees. And do you really need this outfit for this concert? So dad was going to make sure I got it. Mom was going to help me understand the value of $1 and to be a better steward of the resources that I had.
Do you see avenues for opening conversations a bit wider to include like how people see their families and how they see their role financially with their community?
Absolutely. And I am also impressed by the number of our students who are supporting and helping their family with the household expenses already. So I think our students are likely having these conversations with their family. Some of them are in a different position than a lot of us were in growing up. They're contributing to their households if they are still with their families.
Out of necessity.
Out of necessity.
They're having these conversations.
Yes.
That's interesting. Okay. So are there spaces on campus for students to like have this dialogue together and to get resources to have a path toward financial health?
Yes. In our Student Services Center, they do financial wellness for our students. They'll do some financial education and fun workshops and seminars, because often we found that when students are talking about money, they're associating it with the lack thereof of it, and it's creating anxiety. So we want to empower our students and help them understand you may not have a lot, but this is how you can stretch this dollar.
That makes a lot of sense. I'm glad y'all have that resource for students. Do a lot of the students use the resource?
Yes, they do, but not as many as I want.
Okay. So creative ways to figure out how to have more of those conversations.
Yes.
Us too, as a credit union, we're also trying to do that. So we can work together on that.
I would love that.
So besides like finances and basic needs, which are big ones, what other hurdles are students facing, financial or otherwise? And are there ways for community members in the region to help?
Yeah, I would say our biggest barrier for our students has been financial resources, whether it is needing money to pay for tuition or having financial aid cover the majority of their tuition and fees, but needing books. If you have your classes paid for, but you don't have the necessary materials to excel, you're not going to do well. So I would say money is our biggest barrier for our students. Mental health is another big one that is coming up on our campus. And a lot of the mental health is associated with stress because of finances, stress because of things that are going on nationally or with their family. Those are the two biggest academic barriers for our students.
So Give Sac State Day is in April, every April. What is the purpose of Give Sac State Day?
So Give Sac State Day is April 17th through 18th. And the purpose of that is to mobilize the community by encouraging them to invest in our students. So we reach out to the region. We let them know the incredible things that is occurring at Sac State. And we ask them to invest in our students to allow them to continue to thrive and to allow them to continue their education without the academic barriers that exist. So individuals can donate through scholarship. They can donate to departments, divisions, really leveraging the relationships that we have in the region, hopefully reminding those 1 in 17 graduates in the region about how they are contributing to society and where they got their tools and equipment at Sac State. So give back, reinvest in this community. Or reminding someone, hey, my coworker graduated from Sac State and I really like this person and they're making valuable contributions to the organization. They're helping me as a team. Perhaps this is an area that I should invest in as well.
Do you guys have a lot of engagement with alumni?
We do have a lot of engagement with alumni. I'm very impressed with the time and the resources that our alumni continue to devote back to an institution, which speaks to the fact that they had such a rewarding experience that they want to ensure that other students have a similar experience or even better than they had.
That's beautiful. That's awesome. So you are currently working, I understand, to establish a robust VP fund at Sac State. What do you hope that fund will be able to achieve?
Yes. So I was very fortunate when I arrived at Sac State. The former Vice President for Student Affairs, Dr. Ed Mills, who's absolutely incredible, developed a discretionary fund for our students, and it had around $500,000 in it. And that fund is close to being depleted. We would use that fund, or we currently use that fund, to remove those academic barriers that I shared with you. So if a student is unable to pay their rent, a student can reach out to my department and we can explore options with them. We have a number of emergency grants that we can provide in various areas, but there has to be certain qualifications for students to meet those grants. The discretionary funding that I would have would not have the limitations that the other designated funding has, and it would just allow me to ensure that I can contribute to a student so they can finish. So they can finish what they started.
So that sounds like something that I can imagine people would want to support. Can people give directly to that fund?
Yes, they can. On Give Sac State Day, that's fun to say, Give Sac State Day, they can go to the webpage and there is a button that they can click on and they can donate money to that fund. And if a student is experiencing a hardship and they need their car repaired, or if they have an outstanding balance and they've exhausted all of their financial aid, that student can come to me and we can explore options. And if I'm able to support that student, I'm going to do whatever I can to help that student finish.
That's awesome. So outside of, if people can't necessarily give money, are there other ways that they can support if they are hearing this and are like, I want to help?
Yes, they can donate to our ASI food pantry, our basic needs resource center. We will accept monetary donations. We will even accept volunteers. So if there are individuals who want to help replenish the shelves, in our Basic Needs Resource Center, we're going to have personal shoppers. If there's individuals who want to serve as personal shoppers for students, there's plenty of opportunities available to get involved in multiple ways.
Wow, it sounds like you were really considering all the basis with how to support students. Have most of these interventions just been born out of trial and error, or like looking at what other universities are doing, or just really being responsive to what the needs are on campus?
It's a combination of all of that. I want to give credit to Dr. Jeannie Harris Vandelin, who is our Senior Associate Vice President of Student Health Counseling and Wellness Services, which will house the Basic Needs Resource Center. She has vast experience with basic needs centers as well as student health. So leveraging her experience with national best practices led us to develop this model the way that we did.
That's really great. Okay, so is there anything else as we come to the end that you want people to know about your work, about you, about Sac State?
Yes. So I want to sincerely ask that individuals consider investing in our students. I'll be honest with you, I don't ask things of other people that I am unwilling to do myself. I contribute to our students each year during Give Sac State Day. And I can tell you the best return on investment I've ever received is on our Sac State students. Mm-hmm. So if people want a great return on investment, invest in our students. They are worth every single penny.
Yeah. And it's investing in our region. It's investing in our economic health. It's investing in our communal health. So it's a really important role that y'all play in the region. I'm appreciative of it.
Thank you.
So where should people go if they want to donate and get involved and connect and support student needs?
Yes, so they're going to go to our Give Sac State website and look for the VPSA fund or really any other fund that they have an interest in. Academic colleges will have some funds available for individuals to contribute to, our Black Honors College, our Native American College. So whatever their passion is, whatever you are passionate about, if you want to invest in students who are pursuing similar passions, you have the opportunity to do so.
And one last question. If someone, Golden One serves the whole state of California. So if someone in Southern California is watching this and they feel inspired and they're wondering well, how does this relate to me? What is a takeaway from what you see at Sac State that is maybe universal across for students in California? I know there are some commonalities, but what would you say to someone who maybe doesn't have as close of a connection to Sacramento, but still feels inspired by this?
Yeah, our students are across the state. Our students are across the nation, and they're truly making a difference in any community that they are currently in. So although you are not from the region, know that Sac State students are global and they are making an impact. And they've likely made an impact on your life or in your life that you may be unaware of.
Mm-hmm. And you said it, you think a Sac State student is going to change the world.
A Sac State student is going to change the world. I'm confident about that.
I see it in your face. You know it. I like that. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you. I want to really thank you for being here and taking the time to explain everything that's going on at Sac State. I hope that everyone listening is as inspired as I am when I'm on Sac State campus. People can visit the campus.
We welcome visitors. Yes, we love visitors. Please visit us in the Quad, visit us in the Union. If you work out like I do, spend a few dollars and work out in our beautiful well.
Oh, really?
Yes, absolutely. Cool. It's a beautiful facility. Climb the wall, just enjoy our campus.
Awesome. Okay, so you can visit, you can donate, you can get involved. Please do. Sac State is such a gem in our region and our world. So thank you again. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe to the Golden One Credit Union Empowerment Podcast on Apple or Spotify. And don't forget, we want to hear from you. Who do you want to hear from? What topics do you want covered? Reach out to us. You can reach out to us on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. We have this on our YouTube channel. You can make a comment there. So we look forward to hearing from you and incorporating your thoughts into our upcoming episodes. And don't forget to visit the Financial Wellness tab at goldenone.com, where you can find a wealth of resources, including videos, interactive modules, webcasts. We have a learning lab where you can take advantage of the tools and courses, learn about your money personality, and manage financial stress with our money meditations. Once again, I'm Courtney McKinney, wishing you financial health and happiness. And as always, stay golden. Golden One is insured by the NCUA.